Hey guys, what's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. My name is Nicole and I'm a person in recovery. My sobriety date is July 13th of 2015. Today, I have a special guest joining me for a dual live, and that special guest is going to be Kyle from Soberdogs. Kyle and I have been friends for about 4 years now, maybe three or 4 years. We met on YouTube. He also has a YouTube channel called Soberdogs, and he shares his experience of how he got clean and sober and what he does to stay sober. And he also has a TikTok too called Soberdogs. And if you ever need anything, you could always reach out to Kyle. He's super dedicated to helping others and giving back what was so freely given to him. So what I'm going to do, you guys, if y'all don't mind, is could you guys do me a solid and share this live stream out? Invite people that you know are in recovery or that are struggling with their addictions, because we are going to have a great time tonight. We're going to talk about everything from our active addiction, our prison experiences, our sober time, what we do today, and it's going to be a fucking blast, and you don't want to miss it. So go ahead and do me a favor, share the video, drop your sobriety dates in the comment section. If you're not sober, that is okay, okay? Share with us what you're struggling about, what you're struggling with. Don't be ashamed. There's no reason to be ashamed. We don't shame anybody here. We are a place where you guys can feel comfortable whether you're sober or not, okay? All right, so let me see if Kyle is on his live yet. Okay, he hasn't jumped on live yet, so we'll wait for him to go live, and then I can invite him over here to my live stream. Woo! I'm so excited! My first guest on a live stream. So for those of you guys that don't know, I do this on my YouTube channel a lot. I probably have over like 65, 70 interviews with people that are in recovery. I even have an interview on there of a guy, that was struggling in active addiction, and he reached out to me a year and a half, 2 years ago, and he really wanted to share what it was like for him, and he was struggling, you guys, struggling. He didn't show his face because he was under the influence of heroin, but he got on and he talked with us, you know. Hey, Colin, I'm so proud of you, man. Congratulations on 11 months, for real. And so I want you guys to know, like, whether or not you're clean or sober or whatever, I'm still going to support you. And like, I have no judgment on people that struggle, because I struggled for years. Wow, Angie, congratulations. That's a long time. That's like 10 years. One day I'll be there too. Hey. Just keep on knocking these years out, baby. Keep on knocking them out. What's up, Junior? I see you. What's up, Sybil? Thanks for being here, y'all. Come on in, you guys. We're going to have a blast. Kyle's going to jump on with me. And Kyle has been down through there, y'all. He's been to so many prisons in his active addiction in New York. I cannot wait for you guys to hear about it. What's up, Kim? You know it. I'm over here dancing a jig, girl. I love to sing. I love to dance. I love to just be silly. We're not a glum lot, right? So a lot of you guys, hey Mackie, what's up, baby? Thank you for the hearts, Kim. I appreciate you. So for those of you guys that saw my video about methamphetamine and the lack of energy, a lot of you guys were asking me, like, what do you do about it, Nicole? How do you do what you do? How do you have energy? I want you guys to understand something. I just push through because I'm so dedicated to what I'm doing here. Like, this means more to me than you will ever know. I love helping people. It gives me purpose. It gets me excited about sobriety. It keeps me motivated. And so I take 200 milligram caffeine pills, 2 a day. So that's 400 milligrams. Hey! Welcome.
Yo.
Hey.
You're here. All good?
I hear you, and you listen to me. I'm so excited. I was just telling everybody that we met like 3 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
On YouTube, and that we've been friends ever since. And that you have like a really fucking powerful story of how, you got sober and what all you went through in your active addiction. And so we're just going to cut to the chase. We're going to get into it. We're not going to waste no time. Kyle, tell everybody, introduce yourself to everybody. Tell us what your sobriety date is, what your drug of choice was, and then I would love for you to share with us a little bit about what it was like when you were growing up and how did you get into addiction? How did you start, using?
All righty. Well, thank you, of course, for having me. You are awesome. So, grew up with a good family, great parents, everything. Got into addiction. Started using about 12, 13. Addiction really kind of took off about 16 or so. Everything from in high school, it was a lot of weed drinking, ecstasy, and cocaine, shrooms here and there. That was the main stuff there. And then if we got a painkiller, we would take painkillers here and there. So at the end, my drugs of choice, speedball, heroin, and coke. I would not even touch one without the other. Almost needed them both. And my sobriety date is 11/25/18. And I had a 5-day relapse. Then prior to that, I had about a year, so a little bit less than a year sober. And the exact day 1 year prior, I had a 3-day relapse right at Thanksgiving both years. And I had about a year sober prior to that. So I've been in recovery about 5 years with about 8 days of using during that. And the reason both those times, Thanksgiving was a very tough time for me because of being in prison 2 Thanksgiving ago, but one specifically was probably the worst day of my life, which we can get into in a little bit if you want to talk about it. And addiction led me to in the end to prison. Total 4 years, New York State prison, all around, different facilities everywhere. And a year, 12 months and 25 days of that was in solitary, which just fucked me up bad. Solitary was brutal.
Damn, you spent a year in solitary confinement?
12 months and 25 days. It wasn't one. Hi, Kevin. I'm sorry, it's one of my good buddies. Kevin, what's up, Kevin Costello? Yeah, buddy. It wasn't. It wasn't one year in locked in there and then let out a year later. But it was 12 months and 25 days total. 5 stretches there. The longest was 123 days. But it was all. My first year of prison was kind of a joke. I was like, This is prison. Like, yeah, fights and stabbings, but I didn't have a crime against kids. I was quiet and respectful to everybody. I wasn't gang banging. So I didn't gamble. The only thing I really had working against me was I used drugs, but I was always able to pay my debt. So I kind of coasted my first year. And, I've said this in some YouTube videos, but like it was similar to Goodfellas. Obviously, we didn't have guards on payroll like they did there, bringing us in drugs and stuff. But we had regular guards in our unit that when I first got brought to my main unit after all the reception shit, there was this back corner that was 6 beds, and it was like the penthouse of the unit. It was in the back. It was near the windows. It was secluded. Everything was great, and the old timers had it. A couple of guys doing life, and a couple other guys who had long bids. They had a bed open. I get into the unit. My first week, I don't talk to nobody. I'm very shy when I don't know people. I just like to listen and see where I'm at, especially prison. So they come up to me after a week. First, he comes up to me on the 3rd day and asks me my name, and I know called this people back home and ran my charges and stuff. Comes back to me, got an open bed. We see you're pretty quiet. You don't bother nobody. You want it? I say, hell yeah. I always hung out with the old timers because they just told stories and kind of stayed out of trouble. Long story short, I end up getting in with them, and they knew all the guards, and the guards kind of left them alone because they didn't cause problems. And we would just eat pasta, cook pasta, cook meats. We had a stove in this unit, so it was like, awesome. And I'd go out to the yard, lift weights, buy drugs, get high, come back in. The old man who loved to cook would cook all this food, and it was like a joke. Then I got caught. I failed the drug test in June of 2015, and right after that, the next 2.5 years were the worst hell ever. On their radar, in and out of solitary, transferred around, just miserable. Sucked.
How when you were a kid though, like what was it that how did you get started on drugs? Was it like peer pressure, or did you meet somebody that like had a prescription? Like how did that kind of start out?
Well, they originally, I went with a good buddy of mine to Myrtle Beach, and we were hanging out with some girls. We were 12 or 13, about 12, I think, hanging out with some girls from the same town we were from. They were in the hotel next to us, bunch of 12-year-olds, whatever. And we hung out, and it was just, these are the most popular girls in school. It was awkward. It was this, that. The next night we get beer and go back over, and we, drank before. And I just remember, like, I felt comfortable talking. I was smooth. All that bullshit that Kyle put on himself, because no one put it on me. I didn't have like a fucked up childhood. I had actually a phenomenal childhood. Great parents, still married today, 38 years. An older
My
brother.
parents are still married too. That's I think it's an Italian or North. Like my dad's Italian and he's from New York, and him and my mom's Mexican, and they've been married for like a long time, like 50 years, maybe 40 years, something like that. And so, I had a great childhood too. Same situation.
Yeah. And, but I always place these unrealistic expectations on myself, just in all aspects of life, and always had that. I don't know if it's just normal and I chose to deal with it a different way, or if it's excessive compared to normal, but just this underlying nagging, excessive anxiety all the time. And there is a little bit more to that I'm not going to talk about, but just extra anxiety. And because of that, just, whenever I had a substance put in front of me after that day, I was like, hey, if alcohol did this, weed did this, all these other things, there's millions of people use it. It obviously does something. I'll give it a try. And then that's where you get into, I don't know how much genetics come into play. I don't know how much all that other stuff does, but pretty much with the exception of weed, when I tried something, I loved it and I did more.
Yeah, me too.
But
was anybody in your family an addict or an alcoholic?
Not like my immediate brother, parents, but uncle, grandpa, things like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, same here. And I think it's like I always say that it skipped my mom and dad, and then it landed on me and my sister Michelle. Because my grandma or my grandpa, my aunts and uncles, they're in recovery, but they're all cocaine, crack, like serious drug addicts and alcoholics. So yeah, I feel like it skipped my parents and then it hit me and my sister Michelle. Okay, so now that you're you're doing drugs, you're getting in trouble. What sent you to prison for the long haul? Your longest stretch that you did?
That was burglaries, a bunch of burglaries. I was living
in tell us what happened. What were you burglarizing for?
Yeah. I lived in Baltimore, and I tried the geographic moved there with a couple of buddies who were selling life insurance. Worked for a couple months because I just worked like 90 hours a week. But part of the stuff we do when we're selling life insurance is, you know, we got to ask medical questions, what meds you take, blah, blah, blah. So a couple months in, I'm making a bunch of money. Somebody says they got Oxy and Percocet as their medication. My ears perk up. You know, I end up going back and meeting them outside of work hours, you know, and start taking it there. But I was using years before there. I just moved there to try to stop. Anyway,
right.
That job down. And, you know, a little side note, New Year's Eve that year, I draw the short straw for DD. We go out in Baltimore, and it's like 11 p.m. I'm drunk, or I'm totally sober, DD. We're at an all-you-could-drink bar. You got to pay $100 to get in, whether you're drinking or not. All dressed up to the nines, downtown Baltimore. Girl comes up and says, "Hey, you guys don't have to drive home tonight. You could sleep at my place. I live like a mile down the road." Everyone agrees. So boom, I don't got to drive. I go up to the bar. Let's go. Don't stop. Shots, you know, shots and a cup of water. And I wake up the next day at 4 p.m. in Johns Hopkins Hospital. I'm naked. I'm strapped down. I got a catheter in. I got a scar on my head, or a gash. And within from like 11:40 to 12:10, I drank. I remember a couple shots, and I don't remember anything. I don't know if I fell, if I tried to commit suicide, or if I got in a fight, but I fell off the Baltimore Harbor about 40 feet down, hit my head on the way down, was in the Chesapeake, and this is New Year's in Baltimore, so it's not frozen over, but there's chunks of ice. My buddy jumps in, he's holding me up. My other buddy calls my dad back in New York and says, "I think he's going to die," and my dad's losing his mind. It's just a disaster. I actually get airlifted out. I don't know how. I don't remember any of it. But that was the end of Baltimore. So I move home, and that's January of 2013. I'm going to tell my parents I got the flu and detox out, and then, you know, be clean. You know, day 3 of that, then, you know, I end up calling a buddy. We go get high. And from that point on, the next 4 months where I really went nuts, shooting up insane amounts of speedball, were just a tornado. And after I blew through all the money I could steal, whatever, you know, from within, you know, my circle, I just started the houses. And if I look back, that was obviously a terrible decision in New York. You break into a house, it's a burglary second. You break into a store, burglary third. The charges are totally different. But so I just start breaking in houses, and I get caught one morning in this guy's house. He comes home while I'm in there. He chases me down the road a little bit. Doesn't get me, but the cops do a road over, and they charged me for that one. Then I had some stuff from a different one I did the night before in the car still. And
Damn.
So and about 2 weeks later, they come and charge me with 2 more. And then about 2 months later, they came and charged me with 6 more. So, you know, they just basically, all the local police departments had their little meeting and put it all together and charged me with all the ones they could. And, yeah, I was fucked. So that's how I got sent.
So you fell into the Chesapeake Bay?
Yeah. Fell, hit my
head. From the bridge?
Say that again?
From a bridge?
From the top of the pier area, where like they have
Damn, dude. What happened? You don't remember?
Of it. Nothing.
Wow. That is so scary. You could have died.
I should have been dead, and my friend who jumped in to save me should have been. I mean, he was pretty drunk, and he jumped in to hold me up. We're both in, you know, suits and ties, and, you know, the hypothermia and everything. I mean, good thing there was a lot of people around, because, you know, they called the fire department right away. So, yeah, that should have game over.
So after that happened, you got all those burglaries and you went to prison. What prison did you go to?
So that's all said and done. I think I was at 11 of them. New York State has this thing where if you do 45 days in solitary, you automatically go to a new prison when you get out. Why? I don't know, but it's how it was prior to COVID. So, you know, I did the reception, which is Wendy and then Elmira, both Maxes in New York State, and you go there and they classify you and do all that shit. I was
Hey,
at Wendy.
I gotta let my dog out. Hold on, or keep on talking. I'm just gonna let my dog out. Okay. She gotta pee. Hold on, baby.
What's up? First of all, I want to say what's up, everybody in the chat. We're going back and forth, so I'm not necessarily looking at all the questions, but what's up, everybody? Yeah.
Hey, this guy Ashley just asked a question. She says, "Hey, what makes people do drugs? Any smoke drugs, snort drugs, shoot drugs? What do you think it is that?" I mean, I would say like it's when I started using drugs, it was because my friends were using, and I was curious because they were already getting high. You know?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, and I also think the escape of reality, escape of thoughts, emotions. You know, we a lot of us grow up seeing parents, even the movies and stuff, like someone got a stressful day, they, you know, have that glass of whiskey or cup of wine, and it's like, you know, okay, if that does this other stuff should do the same thing or even more. And
Right.
that once I think that's where some of the genetics and stuff come into play, of like, you know, where my mind and your mind do it, and it's like Jesus came down and just gave me the magic pill, and other people do it and they're like, you know, okay, that made me paranoid and whatever. You know, I'm never going to do that again.
That's the difference between someone who has the disease and someone who doesn't. Like when you have the disease of addiction and you take drugs or alcohol or whatever it is into your body, it triggers a phenomenon of craving. And so like that's what I see a lot here on TikTok is there's a lot of people who don't have the disease of addiction. And they're in recovery because maybe they experienced something like, I don't know, they got arrested or a DWI or something, but they don't understand the powerlessness of losing the power of choice when you're using, and what it's like to like really feel like you don't, it's like you don't have a choice of whether you're going to use or not, that your brain is already making that decision because you've been you have the disease of addiction. You have the mental part of your mind is that's where it is. It centers in your mind. The physical dependency and all that stuff, you know, sucks also. But like truly having the disease of addiction, it's like you have no choice, man. It's like you're using and you're on autopilot because your brain automatically defaults to, I need to get drugs to make me feel better.
Yep.
You know, it's like an automatic.
Exactly. Where a lot of the people, you know, we see in the comments and get arguments with some people, or like it's all a choice. I would say that the beginning, yes, it is a choice. You know, when I chose to use whatever for the first time, but once you're doing something, you know, somewhat consistently, yeah, just like you said, great a minute ago, that choice goes away. I mean, you can substitute coke, meth, alcohol with, you know, a Zoloft. If you're taking it, any substance, every day for months on end, your body begins to adjust and okay, that's what it needs to work. So when you stop, it goes through, you know, this entire process of withdrawal and all that. And when you're doing something like heroin, coke, these things on a daily basis, every cell in your body is screaming at you, get me this thing that makes us run okay. If not, nuts. And that's what makes it so hard to, like, you know, love to just say in the middle of addiction, I'm done today. How many? I'm sure you did like me. I said it 1,000 times and I meant it. But then the next morning, when I'm on the toilet with fluids coming out of every part of my body and I'm sweating and I'm crying and I'm depressed and I know this one baggie can clear it up, that's when we make that bad choice, and it's just it does become a necessity.
Oh yeah, totally. And I think a lot of people, like, they don't understand, or they haven't had experience with it, or they have a loved one that is in active addiction and it has hurt them so much that they see everybody and they can't see past their loved one that has caused them harm, or they have resentment towards. And so I always get a lot of comments and people say, why didn't you just say no? You know what I mean? And I want people to understand, like, I want you guys to, like, realize, like, you started drinking when you were 12 years old. 12 years old.
Yeah.
I started using drugs when I was 17 years old. Our brains weren't even fully developed yet. We were kids. What kid do you know makes a good decisions? You know what I'm saying? Like that, and it just happens to happen like that. Like my sister Christine, she drank and she smoked, but she wasn't an addict. She doesn't have the disease, you know. She just walked away. But me and my sister Michelle have the disease. And when we took drugs and alcohol into our body, it just flipped the switch, you know?
Exactly.
Okay, so I want you to tell us about when you went to prison, and why you had to stay in solitary, and what was it like in solitary confinement?
So, like I said, that first year, I was getting high the whole time. And everyone kept telling me, you better be careful, bro. You're going to get a test. And every day at 3:00, we would chug gallons of water because they usually tested about 5. And they called me down one day, and, I failed. So I tried to fight it, but, that didn't work out. And then went to solitary, and everyone told me, go stocked up, bring some tobacco with you, bring any sleeping pills if you got them, bring matches, blah, blah, blah. So I did. And my first night in there, I was just shocked at the whole thing. Like, I get in there, they put me in a cell, and within like they don't give you any books or anything your first night. You don't get any property. Within like 2 hours, I was starting to lose it. But I had some of that stuff I brought in. So I got high, and I got so high that kind of wasn't being smart. So I lit up a cigarette right there in the middle of the cell. And, in our normal unit, we did that all day. I knew you couldn't smoke in solitary, but I don't know. I kind of thought the guards would overlook it like they did in the regular unit. And so they come by, collect some shit. Someone's smoking, do a cell search, get my tobacco, and I get another ticket. So I didn't even make it 24 hours, and I got a ticket. I got sentenced to 30 days in solitary. First day in there, I get in trouble. A couple days later, I go to my hearing and get 30 more added on. So now I'm on 60 days. Those first 5 or 6 days, it was like day 1 to 3, I just shut down. My whole body shut down. I slept 18, 19 hours a day. After day 3, I couldn't sleep anymore because your body won't let you sleep that long. And your hopeless depression just sank in. And I was just like shocked and mortified of how this was allowed and how this is helpful to anybody. And just started losing it, consistent daily basis. And so I get to day probably like 27, 28, and they put me with another guy. I had a double bunk for a little bit. And so he ends up going to a different cell. I'm back by myself. Mental health comes, and I tell him, everything right up to I'm going to kill myself. Because, if you say that, they put you in that special cell, and it's a pain in the ass and all that. So the next day, now they talk to you through the door for that one. The next day, the guards come knock on my door. Rogere, you got a mental health visit. This one's out in the cage. So, you know, you got to get shackled and everything in solitary every time you leave the cell. So they pull me out of the cell, and the guards like to use that as, you know, to search your cell. They got to pull you out, shackle you, and all that. So now that they got to do it anyway for a doctor visit, they figure, fuck it, his cell's open, let's search it. They find I was buying medications from all my neighbors and saving my own to kill myself. And so I had them all up, and they found them. So I go talk to mental health, come back. They give me a ticket for that. And mental health confirmed, too, that he specified the day prior, suicidal thoughts, all that stuff. So I get another ticket for that, go to my hearing. The crookedest guard that I've ever met in all of prison is the one who brought me to my hearing. He's telling the lady, "You're going to slay him? You're going to slay him for all those pills?" And he's pushing her. She gives me 90 more days for having those.
What the fuck?
Trying to kill myself. And so I go from original 30 to now I'm on day 27 of 150. And I shut down again. You know, I didn't eat for days. And then about a week later, I tried to kill myself again, but I was with a bunkie this time, and he woke up when I was doing it and basically saved my life, talked to me for a couple hours, and, you know, talked me off the ledge, so to speak. The next 3 months were, you know, absolute hell, just psychosis daily, pure psychosis. So I get out after 123 days because they knocked off some time because I was a mental health patient with mental health medications and past TBIs and things. And so I go to a new prison, and I'm sitting on my bed just like freaking out because my mind is mush from all that time in there. And, you know, when I walked out, like everything's brand new. The sunlight, the sounds, everything's like a new person. And I'm sitting on my bed, and half of my brain's like, kill yourself. And the other half is like, get high, because that's the only thing that helps you cope with the depression. But if you get high, you go back. And I'm fighting with it. End up going in the bathroom. Couple guys are smoking a joint. I say, fuck it, let me get in. Smoke a joint with them. Got high a couple more times over the next, you know, week, and get another surprise drug test on the radar. Fail. Get sentenced to another 90 in solitary. That wasn't even a full month of getting out from the first time. And
Damn.
It sucked. And so again, I bring stuff in with me, thinking, you know, I could beat the system this time. I know what I did wrong. And they come to my cell at like 6 p.m. one night, and they're like, "You're on a transfer bus out of here. You're going to a different solitary unit." And I'm like, fuck, I had the stuff out of me, you know, because you got to take it out to go to the bathroom. And so I put it back up there, and apparently I put it up all the way, and there was a little bit of a glove sticking out. So they're doing the strip search before I go on the bus, and the Sarge, he's got something up his ass, you know. So I pull it out, and I wasn't really worried about the tobacco, but I had some sleeping pills with me. So I open the glove, and I'm spitting on it, and I'm mushing it up because I wanted it to just be a big glob of mush so they couldn't see what it was. And so they come over, you know, and I'm trying to swallow what I can and throw out what I can, and you know, they get it, and the sergeant go, "You fucking idiot, blah, blah, blah. Bring him back to his cell and bring him back hard." So I didn't really pay attention to that, but they cuffed me, and then 2 guards brought me back and smacked my head against every fucking cell on the way to my, just boom, boom. And the guys that are in those cells that are, are all yelling to stop doing that, you know, trying to, you know, inmates get each other's back. And or at least try to sometimes. Throw me in the cell, still cuffed, which is totally against regulations. come back a couple, about, I don't know, 45 minutes later, undo the cuffs. The worst part of that whole ordeal was, so, you know, I'm sure you know, you got to report all your injuries in prison, you know, in case you're fighting anything. So I take meds. I was taking, you know, depression meds, and every night I'd get them. So the nurse found it right over my cell. I am in the worst depression of my life, and you're not going to let me take my meds. What they did is they made sure, they told the nurse that I refused my meds 3 nights in a row, so she couldn't see my busted up nose and face and report it. On the 4th night, they let her come to my cell. Everything went down a little bit. She goes, "What happened to your face?" The guard jumps right in. "Oh, he was smashing his head against the wall. That's why he didn't get meds the last couple days." I'm going back and forth in my head. Do I tell the truth or not? End up, no, because these guys control my life. I tell the truth that they beat the fuck out of me. They spit in my food, throw my food, get rid of my meds, throw water on my night. So I just biting the bullet on that one, and I'm just glad to get my meds. End up going and doing another 113 days in solitary that time. Yeah, so basically I did about, you know, 200 days in a 270-day period, 280-day period. And then, you know,
they treated you so bad, man. That's how it is though, like in prison, huh? Like in my prison, a women's prison, it was minimum security. It wasn't like that. Like it was more of a therapeutic community style prison, like boot camp. And so it was super easy. Like I just flew through there. You know what I mean? When you came out,
what's up, brother? I just want to say hi. I don't even know his name, but awesome dude, awesome content. Addicted Mind.
That's Brian. Hey, Brian.
Yes, I remember. So
hey, so Randall had a question. He says, "What is our view on medical marijuana?"
Yeah, I got the funniest shit about that, kind of. So
okay,
I get a phone call this morning, and I get a phone call, sleeping, and you know, then it rings again. And usually when it rings twice in a row, it's either family, something's going on, or parole. So it's parole. Come to the door. Okay, I go to the door. "Hi, Mr. Jerry. I'm just here to let you know that you can now smoke weed. New York State passed the rules on smoking weed. Weed is legal, and according to parole, it's now taken out of your parole conditions, so you could smoke weed." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I don't smoke, but thank you. All right, great, bye." And just walks away and leaves. I guess by law they had to go around and tell everybody. So parolees in New York can smoke pot now.
Damn.
I'm all for medical marijuana. I have a very close family member who is not an addict, who was on like 8 medications at one point, and was able to cut 4 of them out by adding in weed. And I think it's great. I think it's way healthier than pharmaceuticals. I do also think that there's a very fine line between using it, to help, and you can get your buzz here and there, and taking it overboard and just being a total stoner. And I also think there's a line for people in recovery. Somebody like myself, I know for a fact I don't do good with weed, so I'm probably never gonna do it. Because I just don't do well with it. So a lot of people, I do videos on here like to argue like it's not bad, it's healthy, this and that. I'm not saying it isn't, but everybody's different. When I smoke pot, it's not like I smoke a joint and I want to be like, oh, let's go get crack like with alcohol. But I get super fucking paranoid. And it's not pleasurable. It's just not fun. So I know for some, also, once I start doing that, I slowly start cutting out recovery for some reason. So for somebody like me, it's not good, but I have no problem with it at all, and don't care or judge if others use it for whatever reason. What do you think?
I don't have like I don't judge people, but I have a really strong opinion on like when a person should try to integrate medical marijuana into their recovery, because I have seen, like, I think it's very important to start out like with a good foundation. And I believe that not smoking marijuana and making sure you're focusing on your sobriety, going to meetings, whatever meetings you do, they don't have to be 12-step, doing therapy. Okay, so you're changing and learning how to cope and change your behaviors. I think it's really important to start that way first, so you have a good, solid foundation. Then, after about 2 years sober, 3 years sober, if you want to integrate some kind of medical marijuana into your recovery program, like, you can give it a try. I know for me, I have tried it. I have tried medical marijuana. And for me, I have to be really careful because I am an all or nothing kind of person. And so, like, I would just want to feel the maximum capacity of highness on weed. So, like, I'm eating all these gummies, they're edibles, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, stoned out. But I felt great. I felt great. I was going out playing outside with my son. I was doing all kinds of fun things. But like, it disconnected me, you know what I'm saying? From, I feel like I was really focused on achieving that feeling and not focused on like staying connected with my higher power, helping others, that kind of thing. I feel like it's like, it kind of comes in and it puts a blocker between that for me. You know what I mean? So I think it's really important, like, before you do something like that, to make sure you have a strong foundation and make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. Like, are you doing it because you want to be stoned out of your mind? Or are you doing it because you have anxiety and you don't want to take Xanax bars? So smoking a certain strain of marijuana helps calm you down. I totally understand that. And I think that's great. I support that, you know?
Said that perfect foundation, and yeah, end goal. What is the goal, or what, what's the effect? Because I've been doing research on the microdosing too, and same thing. Like, some people in recovery, this one recovery program I read about where they do use a lot of weed, and it's like right from day one people are getting stoned out of their mind. And I was like, when do you take that stop, totally clear the mind, and get to the core of what make me use addiction? That if that's not there, like you said, with the foundation, you're just going to end up smoking all day, every day. And then, in my opinion, eventually going to lead you back to something, but yeah, I
What
totally.
is your motive? What
Yeah.
is your motive behind utilizing medical marijuana? Or is your motive pure? Are you using it for therapeutic value, or are you using it to escape reality? Are you using it to check out of life? And a lot of people don't have that self-awareness to even be able to say, this is, a lot of people in early recovery haven't gotten to that point where they even know what their motives are. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we do. We check our motives. Like, am I doing this because, like I said, I want to feel high. I don't want to be present. I want to check out. Or am I doing this because it's something that's going to help me medically? And then also, I think it's really important to get opinions from people that care about you, that are sober, or get opinions from your medical professionals that have been helping you with your recovery, because other people might see something in you that you're not seeing. Because I can talk myself into anything, honey. I almost had myself talked into getting me a prescription of Adipex so I can lose my weight. I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to be taking Adipex and I'm going to be fucking skinny as hell. You know what would happen? I'd be tweaking my balls off running around here.
What is that? Heard of that?
Adipex is amphetamine. It's phentermine.
Adderall.
It's just like, yeah, it's just a legal speed. It's an amphetamine pill, and they prescribe it to people for weight loss.
Okay.
And so I can talk myself into anything, you know what I mean?
Yep. That's
And I think a lot of us
looking at
can, you know?
I was just pulling it up because I was curious. Yeah, that's a fact. Yep. That's
And,
with any, you know, like there's people. Yeah, I am a big 12-step meeting person, but you know, there's people who've had massive accidents and like got to get put on meds, and you know, it's like after they leave the hospital and they're in the pain, and it's totally justified to take something,
yeah.
and you got to go through yourself. And then that's why I know, like they say, a sponsor there, like just a mentor. So, like you said, perfect. Somebody else to keep you accountable because, yeah, I'm the same way. I can stub my toe. Nope, I need it. I need Oxycontin. You know, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm in pain. I need it. You know, same thing with like Tylenol. I have a little headache and I don't take Tylenol and stuff often, but you know, I'll ask one of the girls at work, like, you got Tylenol? They'll be like, yeah, how many? I'll be like, 6. They're like,
Exactly.
you know, it's just, yep, jump to crazy levels for no reason.
Okay,
I
let's talk about this. Let's talk about how about this? I've experienced and I've had this struggle when I was sober a couple of years ago before I got sober this last time. This was when I was still living in sober living, taking Benadryl to go to sleep at night. And I wasn't taking Benadryl because I struggle falling asleep, y'all. I sleep like a baby. I can lay my head on the pillow and I was taking Benadryl to be fucked up and knock myself out.
Yep.
And I see this happen so much in people that are in recovery. And like nowadays, I can't even take a regular over the counter sleep aid because that feeling is just like, it's a euphoric feeling, you know? And I know that my motive behind it is not to get sleep, it's to knock myself out.
Yeah, that that's such a good point. I can totally relate. Um, when I was in county jail, a bunch of guys got scabies, and so everyone's itching. So I got all these pimples on me, and I didn't know what it was. So I go down to the doctor, blah blah blah. He said it's not scabies. You're probably allergic to something here. You know, I'll prescribe you Benadryl. So I get it 3 times a day, and so I would cheat the first 2 and then take all 3 at night. Exactly, you know, my justification was, oh, I need it, helps me sleep in here. Realistically, I'm taking it at 8. So from 8 to 11 until I do sleep, I got some type of a buzz going. And then
Yeah.
every like 2 weeks, I'd sleep up 4 days and take all 4 at once and trip. And, you know, but exactly like NyQuil. I was addicted to NyQuil for a point in time because I was doing so much coke, and I just, you know, once 3-4 o'clock came around and the parties ended or whatever, I wanted to sleep because I had shit to do the next day, and I would drink a bottle of NyQuil and just, you know, pass out or attempt to. A lot of times it didn't even work, but because of the coke. But you know, then in early recovery the first time, just like you said, same thing. You know, oh, I need NyQuil, I need it, and it was more just something to fuck my brain up, you know, before bed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Because we're not like, we aren't ready to like, I, I know this now because I was not ready. Many times I got sober and I was doing these kind of things and I wasn't ready to like really be in recovery. And this last time when Nathaniel got taken away, that just woke me up, man. Like my motives behind utilizing my medication, like medication assisted treatment, are because it saved my life and it helps me every single day to stay on the right path, you know? Um, and I would have never given that a chance years ago because of how judgmental and how stigmatized it is. And so just I think it's really important to work some kind of recovery program. And that's what this is going to lead me into asking you this question. What do you do that helps you stay sober every single day? What does a day in the life of Soberdogs Kyle look like to stay sober?
So my exact daily sobriety program, every morning when I wake up, I do say a prayer. Simple, just thank you for the morning. Guide me in the right direction today, to do, your will and do positive things. Exactly who I'm praying to, I don't know. I struggle with that a lot, but I do believe in like karma and the universe and, the power of even like, I love space and astronomy, like just shit that's greater than me, the sun. So, and I do know for a fact when you do the right thing comes back around, because I've had that in my life plenty of times. So I say that. I got a little daily reflections book in my bathroom, and I read that when I'm brushing my teeth or whatever. And then every day I'd say at a bare minimum 3 and usually 5 meetings a week I go to. If I have the time, I'll go to one every day. I'm a big meeting person. And I will say to people that are against it, don't judge it. If you see God on the wall, God can be whatever you want it to be. I've used my dogs as God. I've used the sun, nature, whatever. But also the community there. So that's huge in helping me.
Yeah, it's the fellowship,
I talk to probably 5 days a week at least, and meet up with them once a week. And then I try to make sure that every single day I physically call, not just text, physically call one or more, but at least one random person whose number I got in recovery over the last 5 years, and just say, hi, how you doing? What's up? Some days I get 4 or 5 calls. Other days it's just one, but that, of course, a couple texts here and there. And then at the end of the night, I say, thank you for the night. And the last thing would be, I try to do like a 15-minute meditation every night, but I'm on and off. I usually get 4 or 5 a week in, which is crazy too, because when I do it like 3 or 4 days in a row, I have so much better days. And I know that. And it's so crazy to me how the human being, there's these things that are like, I physically know this helps me drastically, and yet I will still convince myself not to do it if I'm tired. Yeah. But, and then, so that's, I do those things every day. And then of course too, Soberdogs has been awesome to me, because like I am doing something with it every day, whether it's making TikToks, replying to comments on here. I got Soberdogs Pinterest, Soberdogs Letter, Soberdogs Facebook, Soberdogs Instagram, Soberdogs Patreon, Soberdogs YouTube, Soberdogs website. So I'm writing or talking or whatever about addiction and recovery at some point all day. Like you do. You do. You freaking answering phones, talking to people here. You got
24/7, 7 days a week, baby. Listen to this. We ran into this guy at the dog park the other day, and he was asking, because we used to go to AA with him, and I was telling him about my job and everything, and he goes, do you not like are you on call all the time? I said 24/7. If the phone rings at 3 a.m., I'm on it, and of course there's some days like, well, I might miss a call or something, but I always go back through my emails or my voicemails and call people back and stuff. But I did the same thing. Like when I first got sober, I was like super duper like into meetings. I went to AA 3 times a week. I went to 3 meetings. I had my sponsor I worked at 12 steps with. I was going to therapy. I was doing my MAT groups. But I'll tell you, the last 2 years, especially since the coronavirus started, I have been going to online meetings, and that has helped me, and creating my own online meetings, like having my own groups that we do. And that really helps me. Real Talk Recovery has helped me stay accountable. Like it keeps me accountable every day. If I didn't have everybody here, I wouldn't take it so seriously. You know what I mean? I think I take it really seriously because I have people that look up to me, I feel like, and I don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah. I just want to say something I saw in the comments. Blue collar red voter. He said, I haven't drank since Christmas and I'm jonesing now. Stay strong, man. What helps me, I'm freaking out like that. Make that call that our brains and our bodies are telling us not to make to somebody that's a positive support to you. Because I could have my phone when I'm fiending. To call the dealer is that easy, but to freaking call anybody in recovery feels like the phone's 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, it does.
Connect with somebody, and also like I'll do the weirdest shit to change my mindset. If I'm having a craving, I've said this in other videos. I've dropped to the floor in the middle of Walmart and doing push-ups to change my mind. I'll get on my hands and knees and I will crawl around with the dog or the cats for 10 minutes to just do something that makes me totally unfocused on the thought. So different thing, and how it was taught to me by a good addiction doctor is the craving itself only lasts seconds. The reason when people had a drug craving, they asked all these addicts, they said, between 10 to 20 minutes, give or take. The reason it goes 20 minutes is because we keep feeding it. Physical parts of the brain that started off were only about 20, 30 seconds, but we just keep feeding it the thoughts after, and that's why it lasts 20, 30 minutes. So, change the thought, move a muscle, do do anything different, and get somebody on the phone. Even if you're just listening to somebody else for 10, 15 minutes, by the time you're done, usually it's gone. But stay strong, man.
Yeah, change your thought process, because that's just a thought. You don't have to take action. That's the great thing about it, is that as long as you're not putting alcohol or drugs in your body, you have the power to make a good decision. And so I always say, snitching on your addiction. You got to start talking about it. Tell anybody that'll listen. Like if I'm having a hard time and I'm triggered, or I'm having a thought of using, I come on and talk about it. I'm like, can you guys believe I actually thought about taking Xanax or something like that? And anybody that will listen, I just talk about it. And then when I talk about it, it takes the power away from it, because I'm like realizing that I don't have to do that. Like I can make good decisions today. I'm actually doing good for once in my life. You know what I mean? So it's like so much better than using drugs. You know what I mean? Like it's so much better than drinking alcohol, like doing the right thing and actually staying the course. It's so amazing. And then you get like just all these amazing things will start happening in your life. Like all the promises come true. Like I have my whole family back. I know you have your whole family back, Kyle. Like everybody wants to be around us now, because we're actually like doing the right thing.
Yep. I'm freaking in a house that I was able to buy last year. I would have never in a million years thought that, less than 5 years out of prison, I could purchase a house. But even making a little, I only make a couple bucks over minimum wage at the restaurant, but just not spending every penny on drugs and alcohol, I was shocked. I was able to save money, and, taking one small step at a time, was able to, like rebuild things like credit and all that. And, I'd say to, if like me, and I'm sure you are too, like you said earlier, the all or nothing, those first couple like weeks, even months of sobriety, I was like, I got to rebuild every relationship. I got to get a great job. I got to save 10 grand. I got to just fucking like one thing at a time. And I would focus on that. Like, I don't have 25,000 to pay student loans off. I didn't have $1, but instead of avoiding it, I called them. I told them my situation. They put me on a $5 a month plan for the first 9 months. Little things like that. Next thing I know, I'm 3 months into it. I've only paid $15. My credit score's up just by not avoiding it,
Yeah.
But that, and then, a couple months later, one more step to, rebuild some stuff with the family. And then a couple months later, rebuild this. But it's a process. We drank and drugged for decades. We're not going to fix everything overnight.
Yeah, so this casino dealer, if I were, he just said that, let me see what they said. I get 7 to 8 days sober, then nonstop puking, diarrhea, any suggestions. So a casino dealer, I don't know what is alcohol or pills, but if that's happening, I would call the doctor. Like, it's just so important, man, because anything bad, something bad could happen. You could be vomiting and throwing up and get dehydrated and have a seizure or fall and hit your head. Like anything could happen. So opiates. Okay. So yeah, the best thing to do is to talk to your doctor. Now, with opiates, if you're 7 or 8 days out, like you're in the clear basically. Like the opiates are, especially if they're short acting opiates leaving your system. So, it might just be something going on with your gut because you're going from having all those opiates in your receptors in your belly, and then now you're free without them, and so your gut don't know how to act. Also, we get super constipated when we're on opiates. So now that you don't have opiates in your system, you're going to be peeing out of your asshole for a while. I mean, that's how it was for me too. you know.
Yeah.
So. Talk to your doctor though, just to be on the safe side. That's what I would do.
Sweden's in the house. What up, Sweden? I love how you can connect with people all over the world. It's so incredible. But yeah, that's I think that's such a big point with the constipation. Even on Suboxone, the constipation's still active, and it's that's a huge like under talked about thing about opioids is yeah, I mean, it slows everything in our digestive system down. So when you get off it, it's just like our systems are, they don't know,
Well, your body's trying to find homeostasis. You know what I'm saying? Brain, your body, your stomach, everything is trying to get back to the way it was before we were all fucked up on the opiates, And so when I got sober from everything, and I was in treatment, like I think my bowels were like messed up for at least 30 days. I was really struggling for a long time. I would have to take what is the pills that you take that help you not have diarrhea? Imodium. And I would just take like a regular dose, not like overtaking it, to help with my stomach and make my bowels not so loose. But they were so loose, like I was running to the bathroom and I didn't make it. And I was in detox and I was mortified.
Yeah. The worst is doing that in jail because you got the jail food that's already pretty much designed to go right through you.
Yeah.
Oh, but is what it is.
Listen, I really appreciate you coming on here with me tonight. For those of you guys that don't know, Kyle has a YouTube channel too called Soberdogs. And what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm going to upload this live stream on my YouTube channel. And I'm sure if he wants to, he can upload it on his YouTube channel. But you know what we need to do? We need to do like a monthly thing where we come on here and people can come up and ask us questions and all that kind of stuff.
I was going to push it even more, twice a month or weekly. I know you go live all the time, and I got to start doing it more. So that's cool. Get a set time.
I go live every night.
So I'm down like every Sunday to join you and do this or whatever. I'm totally down and definitely do more. I want to do some more stuff on YouTube too, and whatever. So
and I do it like because Dr. B's is that I have to do Dr. B's live stream with him because I moderate his YouTube channel, and then after that we can come on at this time every Sunday or every other Sunday, so that way we can have a break in between. But that way people will get used to knowing. That's what we'll do. I'll text you, but that's what we'll do. So this Sunday we're here, next Sunday we'll be off, and then the next Sunday we'll be here, and we'll just go on forward like with that. And if you guys want to, y'all can start inviting your friends, and you can you can ask questions. And remember, we're not doctors, we're just drug addicts in recovery. We can share with you guys our personal experiences, but like we can't give medical advice or anything like that. Like I really hope everybody understands that when we say stuff, it's just like our experience, and we try to just help you guys, but we got to be careful we got to protect ourselves. You know what I mean?
Hey, Forrest Danson, thank you. Just got a comment. Please do the lives. It helps. So thank you. Do you have your own comments and I have my own comments? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a whole bunch of people. We had like 40 something people over here on my side. I don't know how many people you had over there on your side, but if we do this every other Sunday, then people will know we're here. And so it'll just build and build and build from there. So I appreciate you for coming on with me, man.
Absolutely. Thank you. I was going to say, I think I had 13 or 14 was the most at one point, but thank you. And, keep kicking ass and helping so many people. I'll text you or call you during the week.
You too. And you guys go over there and follow Kyle on Soberdogs if y'all don't follow him, okay? And everybody over there on Kyle's side, what's up, you guys? I see you. Thanks for coming. And I love all you guys.
Check out Nicole's too. Real Talk Recovery everywhere. Yeah.
All right, man. I'll see you later.
Have a great night. Thank you.
All right, bye.